Thank you. I now call on the Minister for Education, Heritage and Arts, the Honourable Rosie Akbar. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I thank the Honourable Member for the question in Parliament today. Mr. Speaker, sir, our travel assistance program for students from low-income families started in 2009, where they were issued with bus fare vouchers. We knew that free tuition and textbooks were essential, but we also wanted to ensure that our young ones were able to travel to school daily. Since 2009, we have ensured that hundreds of thousands of Fijian children from low-income families were able to travel to school and get an education. Of RKS, the current issue at RKS, the strike of the students in RKS, if I can quote, are signs of negative impact brought about by COVID-19. They may have needed counseling and that's not available. You could be true, Honourable Rondro, but I don't know how you can ascertain the fact that what's happening at RKS now is a result of COVID-19 impact. Let me, Mr. Speaker, so please allow me to advise the House. It's a pressing issue. What happened at RKS started on Friday last week. We received a complaint that students had decided to protest against the assistant principal of the school on Friday. So a team from the Ministry of Education was deployed in the afternoon, and of course there was police presence as well. When they spoke to the students who were protesting, the students revealed that they were not happy with the newly appointed assistant principal. Actually, the newly appointed assistant principal was appointed from within the school after the former assistant principal was transferred to the education office in Nosori. So we came to a resolve where the students, the way we spoke to the students, and we actually agreed with them when they said, because it's an all-boys school, they felt that a male should be appointed as the head of schools, because the assistant principal of any school is responsible for looking after the interests of the boarders and the students in the dorm. So we sorted that out. We sorted that issue out. And parents called us up and they said they wanted to take the children home for the weekend when we allowed that. So many parents actually picked up their children and the students were allowed to go home, and they assured us that the children will be back in school by 8 a.m. on Monday. However, Mr. Speaker, so something transpired within the weekend that we are trying to ascertain what happened, that on Monday morning, those 109 plus students who were in the dormitory in the weekend put up a banner outside the dormitory saying, "Remove the principal." Again, immediately we deployed the team from the headquarters who were there on Friday, and we tried to resolve that with the students. Unfortunately, the students refused to give in. They kept putting the banners up. When the police advised them to put the banners down, they started passing remarks from the vicinity of the dormitories, and they refused to talk. And as a result, instead of letting the situation aggravate, we decided that we will allow the students to go back home, because RKS, I think in the past has had some records of students and the situation getting out of hand. So we decided to let them go home. We advised the parents, they picked up, and all the students that were in the dorm were released. As of now, this morning I received an envelope from the Student Council with some allegations against the principal now. So for the information of the House, we are looking into it, and hopefully we are able to hear both sides of the story and resolve this situation quickly so that students can return to schools and schools can resume. I would advise the members of this House, please don't get involved in this. Let the ministry sort this out, and hopefully by next week we should have a result to the situation. Mr. Speaker, the other issue mentioned by Honourable Rondro was the fact that the Minister of Education will say all is well in the ministry because there are organizations that are providing lunches to students in school, and yet the Minister of Education will say that all is well in the ministry. Honourable Biman, this is of interest to you. You've issued releases on my statements regarding lunches for school students. We've met up with the heads of schools. We've got the data here, and we are grateful for those institutions, those organizations with corporate bodies, faith-based individuals who are providing lunches. I recall, if I read correctly your statement, Honourable Prasad, you called me a misguided missile. I'm happy that you called me a missile. I'm happy. But misguided, I think you are misguided in your misgiving thinking I'm a misguided missile. I'm not. What I discussed with my heads of school was the how it would impact the teachers and the heads of schools should we were going to provide lunches to the students. travel to school through e-ticketing and 1,738 travel to school through rural vouchers. 12,093 students in Maduwata and Bua were assisted, with 7,400 traveling through e-ticketing and 4,618 through rural vouchers. 9,882 students in Bata were assisted with e-ticketing. 4,081 students in Dakundrove traveled to school through e-ticketing assistance, with 3,725 traveling to school through rural vouchers. Mr. Speaker said the list goes on, with 5,331 students assisted in Ra, 7,505 students in Nanogandavosa, 4,235 students in the Eastern Division. In the Eastern Division, all were assisted through the rural vouchers. We've had many cases of students losing their subsidized cards, and which requires a procedure to be followed before it can be restored. While the first replacement of the card is free, subsequently lost cards cost $5 to replace. Many cases of children using their blue cards to play truant or non-school related travel has also been identified. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we have also found out that many parents and adults try to cheat the system by using the blue cards themselves during school hours, when these cards are meant to help students from low-income families to travel to school. We've even found adults painting the blue cards red to cheat the system. In response, we have had to take measures to protect funds allocated to assist children from low-income families, and the ability to use the subsidized cards, blue cards, are now limited to school hours only. Mr. Speaker, this not only prevents unscrupulous individuals from misusing the system, but also ensures that children safely travel to school and safely back home. Mr. Speaker, all students whose parents' combined income or salary or income of 16,000 and below are eligible to apply for this assistance. All students who are eligible for transport assistance allowance shall complete a transport assistance application form. In order for students to use the e-ticketing cards, students need to redeem their cards after it has been topped up. Students can redeem the cards in any Vodafone outlet, buses, district offices of Ministry of Education, and of course our headquarters. Mr. Speaker, it is mandatory that every eligible student seeking transport assistance fills the transport application form every year and submits it to the heads of schools for approval. The head of school updates the eligible students' details in FEMIS, that's Education Information System, and only those who have filled in the transport assistance form are eligible to be assisted under that. And for those students whose forms are not filled in and submitted to heads of schools, their accounts are not updated, and of course they have issues trying to get assistance through this initiative. When a particular student loses the card, he or she needs to get a lost card letter from the school or the district office or the headquarters. This letter is then taken to Vodafone, where students can get a replacement card. The student then needs to inform the headquarters on the replacement card number, so that the funds can then be topped up in the new card and transferred to the correct card number. When a particular student changes their card and obtains a new card, they have to inform the ministry or the head of school that their card has been lost and now they have been issued with a new card. It has come to our attention that students fail to inform the ministry of their recent card numbers, and due to this, we have encountered many situations. Of course, parents and students have encountered many situations where the funds were loaded into the old card of the student. So it is therefore necessary for students to ensure that the advisors of their recent card numbers in order for us to be timely assisted. If the students does not advise the ministry, Mr. Speaker, of the change in the card numbers, the funds are then topped up in the card for which we have the details. And no, I have not. And I've never said all is well. When there are issues, I have accepted it. I have accepted it when there's issues in the Ministry of Education. I haven't said all is well. I've never said all is well within the ministry. Every ministry has its issues, and we address those issues. So, Honorable Prasad, I definitely don't agree with you and your statements. You can do that. It's my time, so you listen. I've heard you. I've heard you going on and on. I don't know what's your obsession with me or the Ministry of Education. I don't know. So don't personalize it. Please, do not personalize it. Mr. Speaker, I'll take it. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.